Look at him. He's just dickered. Just dickered, boys. Son of a bitch.
Yo, yo. Class A, and macro. Not connected, not elected to participate. Bouncing down the stems will make your head hurt. Enjoy the takes. Says her whose head burns from hearing horror stories get burnt from gasoline.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Take or Wide. This is episode 263. I feel like I've been getting some new listeners lately, so I've been starting off these with just a quick hello if this is your first time. Welcome to the show. Thank you for tuning in. There is a bunch of people who helped me get the show to you, and it's important for me to shout them all out. I don't know if you fast forward through these ads or not, but these people believe in the show, and I try to make them as personal as I can. So if you can, just give it a listen and see what these people have to offer. They're great people, so just give them a shout. So I'm going to start off with the dog treat company. These people are local to the Norfolk County. You know, that might not mean anything to you if you're not from Ontario, but they're called Brewed Biscuits, and they're called Brewed Biscuits because basically they're upcycling spent grains. Now, spent grains are like the oats and barley that are steeped in hot water to remove the sugars. That's called wort, and that's what a brewer will use. But instead of just, tossing this to compost or whatever, these quote unquote spent grains still have 20% protein and 70% dietary fiber, and all the ingredients in these treats are natural. They're all locally sourced. They're made in a commercial kitchen. It's a really cool kind of passion project. I'll talk about the Heartbeat hot sauce later, but it's kind of the same thing where it's kind of turned into this side hustle that started selling well, and these people are doing well with it. So it's a really good treat you can get for your dog, and help because they help the environment, but just buying local, it's supporting small business. I like that they're upcycling and it's just reusing. Not reusing isn't the right word, but finding ways to, create less waste. They're a really great company. They have 3 different flavors. They have the peanut butter, they have the pumpkin sweet potato, and they have apple cinnamon. Just go to twospentgrains.ca. That's TWO spentgrains.ca for all the information there. Ocho had it. It's really, really good stuff, and it's very cool that they're on board with me. So if you love your dog, buy these treats. Next, we have, Heartbeat hot sauce. So again, a Heartbeat hot sauce is my friend Al's and his partner Nancy's company from Thunder Bay. Al was a chef, and he started doing this on the side, and more people asked, and now fast forward a couple of years, and they have a storefront. They were on season 6 of Hot Ones. They're in stores across Canada, in the States, and even in Europe, I think. They teamed up with Cancer Bats for their last record. Speaks a lot to what they're doing, and it's I say this a lot, but the bottom line is it's delicious hot sauce. It's so good. The red habanero is my favorite. If you're a hot sauce fan, go to heartbeathotsauce.com and find out where you can buy them. If you're in around Cambridge too, I have some on me that you can hit me up and we'll talk. But yeah, episode 221 is the episode with Al, if you want to go back. But it's all made with a few simple, high-quality ingredients. There's no water added, no thickening agents or chemical preservatives. It makes it as natural as it gets. It's fucking good. Heartbeat hot sauce. Los Cabos drumsticks are next. If you go to loscabosdrumsticks.com, you can find out information on Canada's #1 drumstick manufacturer. I'm a Los Cabos artist. They've believed in supporting my little bands, which is amazing, and they also have now supported the podcast. So if you are a drummer and you're looking to try and you haven't tried them, try them. I found that they were, simply put, durable, but not heavy tree trunks in my hands. It's a family-owned business, and they make really good shit. They have 20 different stick models and 3 different types of wood. They got you covered. Again, loscabosdrumsticks.com. You can find out information there. Kevin Rigo of Hefner Toyota is my next sponsor. Kevin is an old friend of mine. I've known him for 10 plus years. We, went from playing God of War together to raising our kids and talking about life insurance and shit like that. But Rigo's a good friend. He's an old friend, and he's a car salesman. He's out in Kitchener. If you're out that way and you know someone, or if you yourself are interested in grabbing a Toyota, go talk to Kevin. You'll get special pricing on new vehicles if you mention the show. And he's just an honest guy. I've never been in the boat to buy a new vehicle, but when I do, hopefully, Rigo's my man. He honest guy, family man. Trust him. I trust him. Kevin Rigo. You can find him on Facebook. A couple more here. Ironclad Graphics. They printed the shirts. Ironclad Graphics is a silk screening company out in Kingston, and the fact that they're in Kingston, I hope it doesn't turn you off. Just because, they're not local, they'd still ship coast to coast. They're competitive with their pricing. They've been in the game a long time. They've done tons of my band shirts. They did the podcast shirts. If you're looking for someone to make your shirts or your koozies, stickers, they do embroidered patches. They do almost anything. You can find all the information at ironcladgraphics.com. Just take a look and throw them in the bucket of names of companies that you might want to work with to make your merch. Lastly, I think this is the last one. Yeah. Dapper Beard Oil is a beard oil company from Ottawa. Again, it's small business. It's my friend Andrew who started this company. He's done really well. He's seen press in like GQ and Huffington Post and CBC. And it's a really good beard oil. It's all natural ingredients, 100%. It's ethically sourced. It helps hydrate. It helps repair your beard. It's antibacterial. It reduces beard dandruff. He's got the 3 different types, and the biggest point of this all is that you can save on shipping. If you just use Taker-wide free ship, just one word, you'll save on the shipping. I don't think it would hurt to try it out, to buy it for yourself, buy it for a friend. A lot of us have beards. Trying to remember the time when I was trying to grow a beard. That's a whole other story, I guess. But yeah, we're all adults. And try it out, man. Just step up your game a bit. Try some beard oil and save on shipping. So dapperbeardoil.com. That's really it. So for this episode, I'm speaking to Morten. He is the guitar player for... Sorry, hold up. I'm just about to record over what I just did. Okay, fuck. Jesus. Morten is the guitar player for Town Portal out of Denmark. And his band's got a new record coming out this Friday. And we talk about inspirations in math rock and getting Scott from Kowloon to mix the record, which is dope. And yeah, he's a sweet dude, and I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is 263 with Morten. It's good to see you, man. I was trying to think. I saw you, I think we only met once in Berlin, I think.
Yeah. I also think the first time I met you was the night after I moved to Montreal in, I don't know when, 2013 or 12 maybe.
That's
and
right.
I was jet lagged out of my mind, but I wanted to go out and meet some people because I was there by myself, and you were actually playing on that day, so I came out to see you guys.
That's right. Fuck. And then
So,
yeah, and then it was when we were over there at this. It was like, oh fuck, what was it called? Oh, it's escaping me. They had really good hamburgers, I remember there, and we played with.
Was it called White Trash?
White Trash. That's right, White Trash.
Yeah.
Restaurant or whatever.
Yeah.
It's been.
I was living in Berlin back then.
It's been a lot of years, man. In trying, I do these once a week, and I sometimes I have a lot of buddies, but it's perfect timing because your record. By the time this airs, your record's gonna come out on the Friday. This will come out April 1st. So yeah, cool. Perfect timing, man. It's I listened to the first couple of tracks, and there's so many bands to listen to, and I forgot that your band is rips. I just forget. Thanks, man. But yeah, fuck, and it's we could so much to talk about with the record. I didn't know that you had Scott come out and record it for you guys.
Yeah, no, it was it was an insane idea basically, because we've always recorded on a budget of I have to convert this on the fly to US dollars, or Canadian dollars. I won't be able to,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. You could do
like
US.
roughly maybe like $1,000 was our entire recording, mixing, mastering budget. Usually like that. That's what it was like for the first two albums. And then this time we were like, we have to try something new. Like try to get someone that we really want to work with. And s- well, Scott for us was not just the guy we could afford. He was actually like our number one preference.
Wow.
So we just asked him, do you want to come over for this? And he was really down with the idea. I think it sounded like like some kind of needed like adventure that he needed as well, or
Huh.
some needed getaway
Hmm.
vacation type thing. So it was just a good setup. Um, but yeah, it made recording the album a lot more expensive
Yeah.
because had to get plane tickets in the mix and stuff.
Oh my God.
And we rented out a decent studio as well for once, not just recorded in our rehearsal space.
Wow. Well, it sounds like it sounds so awesome. It's exciting because Scott just did our record too. He did the Sabatini last record. He mixed it.
I know.
We didn't fly him in,
Yeah.
but it
Well,
sounds super good. Did you guys are there like grants, like Danish grants for artists? Because that sounds crazy expensive to have flown him in and
yeah.
shit.
So the thing is, there are, and we applied for basically all of them, but got none of them.
Fuck.
um, so and I think we had some kind of expectation that we would get at least some money for it, but in the end we got nothing, and we just had to make the decision: do we want to carry through with this plan anyways? And we ultimately decided that we would. And we had built up some like money in the band over the past years or so it was like we had to put down a little money ourselves, like
Mm.
privately,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't too bad. So it just seemed like a good or maybe stupid investment, like
I
at
think
least an investment in just. No, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, I think a lot of people would consider any of our money that we put towards the band a stupid investment. Like it's been a stupid investment to some people for like 10+ years, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like you have to do it without without expecting to see that money ever again.
Did
But I know we will have some of that back at least.
hopefully, yeah. Do you got like so? Did you want to go bigger than normal? Because a lot of the theme that I talk about is just getting older and it's harder to do this. Like
Mm-hmm.
I know this is just gonna come out, but it's a real risk, I think, when you drop that much money, personal money, into underground music. Kind of like, why decide to run that risk? Just to do it, or do you have big plans for this year? Are you guys gonna become like the biggest band in the world now or something?
No, it's actually not part of a plan like that. It was more actually for our own sake, just like for the fun of doing it, or for like finding out how big of a difference would it make
Hmm.
if we just do it as usual in our rehearsal space, have Christian, our guitarist, record it, versus rent out a nice studio, have our favorite engineer come over, have him mix it as well. And it was just like a personal thing, really. Um, and and I guess it has to do with the fact that I mean, like you're saying, people are getting older and it's getting harder to do, but at the same time, we're getting older and we're getting like jobs, like real adult jobs, making real adult salaries. So we're spending a lot of time making this money,
Huh.
which, like, if not to invest it in the thing that we care about the most, like our band, then Like it just seems like a good place to put down that money. Like when you spend so much time making that money, like doing a job that you like, but maybe it's not like your dream.
Mm-hmm. That's
Do you
interesting.
know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a thing I think. Well, I forget about that. Other people don't invest their money in a money pit like a band. Like people get good jobs, but then they buy nice things. You know, people have like other people who don't have music. They might have like a motorcycle or like they have
Right.
expendable cash. And I've never lived that life where I have expendable cash, but it only makes sense that like it makes me hopeful that if someday maybe I can find a good job that makes me more money, that kind of means that I'll have more money to invest in my band.
Yeah, because essentially it is buying a nice thing. Like
Yeah.
it's buying this piece of it's buying into this piece of art that you create, and it's going to be there forever for the
Yeah.
rest of your life, and it's something to be proud of, and it's just a nice way to spend your money. And I
Yeah.
don't want to make it sound like we're making that much money, like personally, because we we are not, but we're making enough that like I don't have any kids. Christian doesn't have any kids. Malik just had his first daughter, but like we're basically all of us in the dink segment, like dual income, no kids,
Yeah, yeah.
kind of
The
thing. So
dinks,
there
yeah.
is some excess money,
Yeah.
so to speak. Yeah. And some people use all that money on like nice things like you say, motorcycles or traveling and
Hmm.
stuff, which I try to do as well. But then again, the band is like it's an easy way to travel as well because like it's if you can invest in the band and use it as a free traveling institution of sorts.
100%, man. How long have you got? Because the first thing came out 2011, so I really think once you hit, yeah, about the time that you guys are 8, 9, 10 years, that's when bands can either stop or keep. But it's been about that long, right? Like 8 years, I think. No.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, actually, I think the band was formed in 2009, like slowly getting things together. I wasn't part of the band back then, but joined in late 2010. So
Huh.
I guess officially, as the lineup we are now, we should celebrate our 10th anniversary next year.
That's
So
cool, man.
that's quite something.
I uh I
Yeah,
I have a bunch of I'm jumping all over the place, but I just saw the footage of you guys on a
that's fun.
beach playing some fest somewhere.
Oh yeah,
What was
that
that?
was it's a festival in Sardinia, Italy, like this big island in Italy. Um, it's called Duna Jam, and it's like I think it's been going for maybe 9 or 10 years as
Oh
well,
wow.
or maybe even longer actually. I'm not totally sure of it. And it's just this called festival uh, that you can only attend if you get invited,
Huh.
like as an audience. I mean,
Oh wow.
obviously as a band as well. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, I think there are only I'm not sure if it's four or 500 tickets on sale, but you have to apply to be able to buy one of those tickets.
Holy shit.
And I mean, they could easily grow that festival into a much bigger like size, but that's just not the spirit of it. They want to keep it at that amount of people.
Hmm.
And so everyone at the festival live in these farmhouses around the island, and then every day there are like 3 or 4 concerts in like a new location on the island,
Wow.
outside somewhere, and no one really knows who's playing or uh, where it's gonna happen. But the idea is that you just sort of find out throughout the day,
Wow.
either by like word of mouth or by texting someone to get the location. So
Wow.
it's an insane
Yeah.
idea.
The footage looked
That
crazy.
was really fun. Yeah.
Let's actually
Yeah,
just
it
talk
was
about
crazy.
the record. I could go on and on, but I am excited about this new record because yeah, Scott mixed it, this and that. And I was looking at some photos that Scott posted, and so was it like how'd you guys track it? Was it live off the floor? It looked like there's a photo of it off the floor, but then there's another footage of you guys like in a stairway with the amps and like I guess that's
Oh,
isolating cabs. How did you guys do it?
yeah, yeah. Basically, it was a live thing, most of it. Yeah, we just did like all three of us at once because, which is actually the first time we did that. But
Huh?
like having done it now, I think we regret not having done it before,
Ah.
like doing the layered recordings, because I think we had this idea in our heads that because our music is so like dense. It would be easier to just get one instrument at a time, especially with like long songs. The chance that someone is fucking up something
Mm-hmm.
along the way is pretty big. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and you can multiply that by three when you're free in the band and so on. But actually, it just turned out it was much easier to just do it live because that's how you play the songs.
Huh.
And I think the result is like nicer. I like uh, the live feeling of it. But the stairway thing was just some extra recording we did for an intro to one song. To It's just like it has had an amazing natural reverb out there,
Huh.
and so we did this crazy experiment of like miking up uh, three levels like of the building,
Wow.
like one mic at the basement and one like higher up to just get that natural reverb. Uh, it plays a really small part on the album, but it was just like a nice experiment
Huh.
and one of the nice things that you can do when you just want to fool around and try stuff out.
It
It sounds
sounds
nice.
yeah, it sounds because you guys don't play straight 4/4 type stuff, and like how long did you guys rehearse? Because I saw that I think 2000. It's about 4 years between the records between the Occident
Mm.
and this one. Like just you guys just rehearsed the hell out of these tracks because they're not easy songs like to remember. There's a lot going on. Were you surprised with how easy you laid it down, or were there some hiccups?
Yeah, I think we were actually quite surprised. Like, it's not like we ended the session a day early because it was so easy. Like,
Uh
I think we used up like all of the time doing 12-hour days and driving Scott crazy
huh.
with our perfectionism and etc. But it didn't feel too hard to track it, and I guess we did rehearse it quite well before going into the studio. But like the way we rehearse is typically we just played when we write the songs, we just play the like different parts of the song a lot
Hmm.
because for some reason we can't really seem to do that thing where you just like spit out like ideas and get them like loosely tied together, and then you have like the structure of a song and you move on to the next one, and then you eventually come back to it and start refining it. Like, we don't do that. We're more like we do like we do that one song and we take 2 or 3 months to write it. So like in that time we get to play every part of the song a lot.
Hmm.
So in the end it's just like I think we need to play it well. We need to hear how it sounds when it's being played well to assess if it's actually like a good riff or a good song. So that I guess that's the way we rehearse and make it easier for ourselves when we're in the studio.
It's interesting the song structure because it's complex and you could tack on more and more and more. So I guess it must be a feel thing when it's like, this song is done because it is open ended. Like, you guys don't really sing and it's not like verse, chorus, verse, chorus. Is it more of a feel like we should end the song now, or do you throw a bunch of ideas at it? Like, kind of the idea of how you guys write a song is interesting because they're not traditional. It's not traditional songwriting.
Yeah, true. I guess it is a feel thing. Like, and we, I think we have some pretty set ideas about like what kind of moods we need to go through in like in a song, or like um we wanna create this feeling of some sort of narrative, and I think we have this unspoken idea about what a song narrative is, and that just guides us along the way. And we have pretty set ideas about like what is a good end part to a song, like what is a good outro. And yeah, I think it just pretty much just comes together like intuitively. But we do struggle a lot to make these songs flow naturally without the guidance of vocals, or like actual choruses or verses or stuff like that.
Would you
It is a struggle.
would you say like this, because I've only heard the two tracks, like is without lyrics it is interesting to talk about moods and vibes. Like, yeah, you can have like a fast frantic part and it might seem like chaotic, but you guys aren't saying anything, so you have to say stuff through literally the notes. And would you say this is like a sad record, like more sad, like the cover, it's kind of seems like doom, not doom, but like but powerful, but like destructive kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like without lyrics, how, what do you think the record vibe is? Is it a sad one? Is it like, what kind of emotions do you guys touch on? It sounds fucking super, I don't know, convoluted to ask that question, but
No,
without
I
lyrics, like
get what you mean.
what is the feel of the record?
Yeah, I think like it's definitely the darkest sounding record that we have made. I think it has a like bleak and gloomy vibe along the way, like in a lot of it. Whereas in the past, I think with our songs and our song titles, we have been flirting with a lot more like goofy vibes and like a lot of humor. And for some reason, this one didn't turn out that way. I think we just either we grew tired of it, or maybe it was just like a circumstantial thing,
Hmm.
like the way of the world type stuff, like how like certain circumstances like are reflected in the music, and in that dark sound.
It's I read the Invisible Orange's post, and it was a well written post. It kind of I don't know, it made light, or not made light, but it brought to light the kind of how the music scene is a little bit too much maybe about branding, and how what you guys are doing, there's not a lot, and I'm sure there are, this is one person's article, but I found it I don't know, it's almost like, as far as what I've heard so far, like bands like you guys, and I think the Self-Evident guys,
Yeah,
they just released some
awesome.
stuff, and it's
Yeah.
cool to know and to hear, because I used to kind of be in a band that was sort of forward thinking, I guess, for lack of a better word, that you guys would still be pushing yourselves to write this interesting music. Like, did you guys always want to keep it not complicated, but it kind of is complicated? Like, is that just a natural thing for you guys? Because it's dense, I think, is a really good word for at least the two tracks I've heard and the stuff I've heard in the past. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think we've always looked at like the music that we make as like that middle ground in a Venn diagram. The diagram with the
the
overlapping
platypus and
circles.
the keytar. I don't know, a stupid reference.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because essentially we're like the three of us have quite different taste in music, and I think, for example, Malik, the drummer, he would never be interested in playing something that was really simple. Like it's just not within his like scope of interest.
Mm.
Whereas Christian and myself would probably be more okay with that. And I think with the new album, we did try to simplify some things. Like I know it's still quite like dense, like I said, and at times it's complex as well. But we also tried to, like, for example, there is no guitar tapping on the album like you'll find in a lot of math rock. We didn't want to go there. We didn't want to like make these like really weird structures of like noodly diddly 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 tapping. And there's not a lot of like start stop polyrhythm. Now 4/4, now 6/4, now 7/4. Like most of the time, you should be able to just like bob your head in 4/4 throughout all the songs. And if you listen to just like I think if you listen to just hi-hat and snare, you'll find that most songs are built around a 4/4 foundation, and there's a lot going on top of that. But like at the very core of it, it's quite straightforward. I forgot what the question was now.
No, it's just, it was more of just speaking to, you could either make things more difficult or less difficult in your songwriting. And it's more, I think about myself, my bands, I feel like as we get older, it becomes less complicated. And I think everyone goes through this where you're young and you're just trying to rip as hard and impress as many people as you can. But then eventually, like I've been finding, like when I listen to old Sabatini stuff to the newest stuff, like the newest record is so just straightforward in comparison to some of the crazy stuff we did. It's like, I don't know if it's a natural thing, but with bands that write complicated music, at some point it might become that, or it might not. I don't know. Or it might become, I think what you guys are doing, where it's complex, but it's head bobbable. Like it's not like, oh, I can't follow this. It's enjoyable music, but it's complicated. But like someone like my parents might be able to follow the rhythm.
Exactly, and it should be like that. And I think, like you're saying, it is a natural evolution to go through like the quest towards something that's more simple. I think we did do that as well. And in the end, yeah, I feel like our music should be enjoyable to people who don't understand what's going on. Like it shouldn't be about like getting it. Because I think that's not interesting actually. It's not interesting to make music for someone to decipher. I don't like that. It has to have some like immediate appeal to people. I think that's what we're striving for, and that's like what keeps us from going like completely bananas on weird time signatures and like complex fast stuff. And just,
I like that idea
create
of
stuff that's like enjoyable.
Yeah, I like the idea of not writing music where people like, oh, I get this and you don't get it. It's kind of, I was in that band where it's like you just don't get it, you know. But you're really limiting. Like, why limit how many people could like your band? It's everyone has their own thing, but I like that idea of not writing music for people to just, you know, special club. Like you're in the special club if you like my band. That's so weird.
Yeah, it's just like writing music for people like to masturbate at like because they get it. Like they get what you were doing technically, musically.
Yeah.
I don't find that part very interesting, but I guess we were like in that boat.
Yeah.
Too.
A lot of people
earlier.
I think. Did Scott have a lot of input? Because like, was he just behind the board, or was he also kind of piping up with like maybe try this or maybe try that?
Mm, like he was not in that producer role.
Hmm.
I d- well, I'm trying to remember, but definitely there must have been some moments of like try this and try that. But I think he was mostly doing that like on the actual sound engineering, and I think his attitude was more like, "This is your songs, you know what it's supposed to be like.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
just do what you think."
Hmm. Hmm. Um, what did you guys like? When did you guys record this? Because it's like a 3-4 year window from the last record. But yeah, when was this
Mm.
recorded? In the fall? No.
No, actually in May, so it's almost a year ago.
Okay. Okay. S-
But yeah, it's a bit unsatisfying to wait so long for it to be released. But it's like then you like I think Scott is a busy man as well. Um, and essentially we had to wait for him to have time to mix the album.
hmm.
And I think that happened like around August. And then you have to wait for the mastering, and then you enter like these months around like Christmas in January, and you have to send it off for vinyl press, and you just like eventually a long time has passed, and yeah, it just ended up making sense to release it in April because you have to fit it in with the record label schedule as well. And
Yeah. Who's
yeah,
putting it out?
but sometimes I do find like it's Small Pond, a UK label that
Okay.
we've been working with for like also the last album, and then we have an Australian label called Artist Catharsis
Cool.
on it too. So like a collab between those two labels,
Yeah. So, and I cut you off. You're saying
which is nice.
sometimes you find
Oh, yeah, sometimes I understand like the appeal of like cassette labels. I I hate cassette tapes, but
yeah,
I also understand like the revival of it. Like I don't know if that's a thing in Canada, but I'm guessing yes.
oh yeah, yeah.
But
Tons of
certainly here
labels.
there was sort of a cassette tape revival. And while it's a shitty media, I do like the fast turnaround of it because you
Yeah.
can essentially record an album, have it mixed and mastered, and then once that's done, you can just get like a tape duplicator and have it ready for release the next day.
Yeah, yeah,
And I like that.
yeah. yeah, I
But
the cassette
I still
thing
prefer the vinyl.
um I like it cuz I give my cassettes to my kid and he can like do whatever and I'm not worried about him destroying them. But it
Yeah,
is kind of big here. It's affordable and really I kind of view it as you're buying a download card that you can also play, you know? five
yeah,
bucks. And on fucking like Bandcamp, like, and it's fine. Albums are like 8, 9, $10, which they should be. They have value. So like, you know,
exactly.
for a new album, $10 for a digital file is totally acceptable. So, but I
Yeah, I
hear what
think
you're
so.
saying, man. With the cassettes, they're easy to turn around. And we were kind of in the same boat too with the Sabs where we recorded it and just sat on it for a long time. Part of it was, Scott was busy. Part of it, we didn't have the money. So I know exactly what you're like. I think we had a longer window of time from recording to releasing it, but yeah, you're done with it. You're happy with it, but then you have to wait on it. Um, in April, so
Yeah.
that's just more of a label thing. Like they're like, this is when we could do it properly and shit.
Yeah, so they obviously want to build some sort of campaign around it and release singles equally spaced out over a period of time, and get some press and stuff, and all that's quite good. I understand that, and I like that.
What
And
do
I'm
you?
a big part of it as well. Like
Oh
I
yeah.
can't help but like participate in that thing. Yeah.
What do you guys want to do? Like, is there a lot of touring plans, fests and stuff? As I think with Europe, it's the fest scene is a lot more abundant. What are your plans once the record comes out?
We do have some shows lined up in like here in the spring. We're not doing any like big ass tour in support of the album because I think, like I said earlier, Malik just had a daughter and like understandably want to be at home with her. So what we're doing instead is just like doing a bunch of smaller tours. So we have some UK shows coming up in April, just like 4 shows, and we have some shows here in Denmark. We're playing like a fest, like you said, something here called a Colossal Weekend,
Okay.
with Built to Spill and Maps and Atlases. And then I think actually the week before that we're doing something similar, but in Luxembourg.
Okay.
Coincidentally, also with Built to Spill.
Hmm.
We have some German shows, but I think that's sort of it for now. And I guess like what we really want to do this time, maybe like a year from now, is to do our first US tour.
Okay. Cool.
Because it seems like about time for us to try to move somewhere else.
Would you do that alone,
It's
or
just been this big look. Oh, well, no, I think we would try to find someone to tour with over there. Like I'm not sure who, but like Self-Evident is definitely a band we
Wow.
talked about a lot.
That'd be
And
fucking
like
awesome.
that, like how awesome it would be to tour with them.
Hmm.
Yeah, like this is not something I've talked with them about, like at least not recently. I think we have talked about it in the past, but we've always been like pushing this US tour ahead of us, like because it just seems like such a big like logistic pain in the ass.
Yeah, it
And expensive
100%
as well.
is. Oh my God, man, it is. Yeah, we're in the boat where I don't know when we'll do the States again. Like, I'd rather spend that money in Europe and just go and be taken care of. But there's no denying that the States has a market, you know? Like, you could sell a lot of copies of your record with a decent tour in the States.
Yeah, I think we could. And like I get the impression when looking at just like Bandcamp stats or Spotify stats that like our biggest audience is in the US. But I mean, they're probably scattered all across the country. So we could tour the US and we'd have 5 really enthusiastic people in each city. But that would sort of be it. But it just kind of it sums up to a large number because it's such a big country. But
yeah, but it's not as easy.
But no, but I think it would be great. Sorry, what's that?
That's okay. That's the problem with this fucking FaceTime thing. There's always this stupid delay that's like we're talking.
Yeah, there's a lot of latency here. So.
Yeah, no, I was just saying. It just is. It's not as easy as us coming to Europe. It's so much harder. Like even if you guys wanted to come to Canada, I believe that's a lot easier than coming into the States for sure.
Yeah, I guess so. Do you guys need to get work visas to come here and play?
No.
Or is that a question I should not ask?
No. You don't. We don't need it. It's crazy. We brought our friend. Like I was just in Europe in January, and we brought a friend with us who had never been, and he was blown. Like he's a guy who's toured all over the place, and he couldn't believe how easy it was. Like we landed in Amsterdam. And it's just like, what are you guys doing? Oh, we're a band. We're on tour. Like, all right, have fun. That's it. Nothing. It's fucking crazy how easy it is, man. And coming the other way, at least in Canada, like you do have to say we're playing shows, and there's like I've done it where it's just you just write like an invite letter and just explain like these guys are playing, they're getting paid this much, and that's kind of it. So,
right.
But Canada only has like 3 major cities that I feel are worth playing for a band that like you guys, you know what I mean? Like my little town, I don't know if anyone's heard of Town Portal, right? But I'm sure in like Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal, it's a lot different.
But yeah, and the problem with Canada basically is the distances, right? Because I think I remember Montreal to Vancouver. That's like Denmark to Kazakhstan,
Oh
like
yeah.
distance wise.
Yeah. It's so fucking big, man.
So yeah,
I was gonna ask,
but yeah, maybe we should just do Canada instead of the US.
yeah, come do
Wow.
Montreal with the Sabs, and then we'll do like Toronto, but then that's kind of, and then we'll fly to Vancouver, and then that's like all the all the big places that are in Canada.
Yeah. Well, that would be fun for
That would
sure.
be fun, man. We'll get Kowloon
Mhm.
up. That'd be sick. Let's tell Scott, hey man, come and
Hey
fucking
Scott, if
yeah.
you're listening.
I was gonna ask too. Just it's not that long ago, but what did you guys use as far as gear? Did the studio have a bunch of gear? Did you use your own gear? Like what heads and kind of stuff we're using? There's a few gear heads that listen, so I think they'd be interested.
Yeah, I'm not too much of a gearhead myself, so um I think I always disappoint people when they want to talk gear with me, but we just use our own stuff, like in terms of caps and heads and
Hmm.
instruments. But the studio that we recorded in is like it's crazy for gear, like but like recording gear.
Hmm.
It has all these vintage microphones like Neumann microphones from the 60s and like this big ass Neve desk and lots of like vintage outboard gear uh, that I think we didn't use most of, but
Uh-huh.
it's very cool. Like I can't even go into details because I don't know anything about it, but I could tell from Scott that he was really excited about the like the gear that was there. But
What do
yeah,
you use
I
then?
mean
Like
we just use
what?
pretty
There's that latency.
like me personally.
Yeah, yeah. What's your head?
Yeah,
What's your cab? What bass is it? What pedals?
yeah. So like I said, I'm not much of a gearhead, and one of the like a result of that is that I I've only ever owned one bass guitar and I've only ever owned one amp and one cabinet. I'm still going with that and it just
Whatever.
works for me.
Yeah, if it
So
works.
I think when I was yeah, exactly. But when I was 18, I bought I just ended up taking out a huge loan and buying this big ass Ampeg amplifier. Uh, like it's an SVT2 Pro, which I don't think they make anymore, but at least back then it was like the top of the line,
Hmm.
most expensive amp. I was just kind of lucky to get it at a cheap price, but even so, still expensive for the 18-year-old me. But I've been clinging to that one ever since, and I just play the Look series jazz bass, Mexican jazz bass Fender through that one. And in terms of pedals, I'm like this is always the big surprise to people when they ask me about my distortion pedal because it sounds like really powerful, I think, but it's just like this cheap Boss pedal,
Huh.
like the ODB free, I think it's called.
Okay.
Um, and I don't think it's a great pedal, but it's just that in combination with that amp, it just sounds really brutal.
Nice.
So I've just yeah, I've just stuck with that, and it's a good thing because if it breaks, I need to replace it. It's gonna be I don't know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
50 quid or something.
Yeah, I hear you. Sometimes
Yeah. So
boutique custom stuff is great, but almost irreplaceable sometimes. Like this guy made it and he only had one eye and he died and now I can never get this fucking pedal amp back or something, you know?
exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask about
Um.
the just it's just more for me, but there was a little thing on Bandcamp that just says it doesn't have to be. What did I wrote it down here? It doesn't have to be hard. Like it's like the last thing on the Bandcamp page. Is that
Oh.
like something that was in the studio
Yeah.
Scott was saying, or what is that?
Yeah. Exactly. I think that it's like or it's a little ode to Scott for
Hmm.
it was sort of like his motto. I think it was a very important um, thing for us to know that like you can go in there and then you get the song down in the first take, and then everyone is really skeptical because it's like you have this feeling that it's not supposed to be that easy. Something must have gone wrong. Like we gotta at least like do 3 or 4 takes to get it right. But I think he just kept reminding us that it doesn't actually have to be hard. And
Huh.
I think that goes in terms of like writing music as well. Like it doesn't have to be hard for it to be good. You can it's coming back to like making simple stuff actually, I guess.
Hmm.
So that was the thing he said a lot. That and commit you coward was like the two things that
Commit, you coward.
was being yeah, that's another thing Scott says, which I found to be very true as well.
No,
Like,
that's
'cause you
awesome.
have this tendency when you're recording that you wanna get like you wanna keep all possibilities open, like and you will always hear someone say like, let's decide that in the mix, like let's decide which one of these two takes we want to use, or let's decide this and that later in the process. And he would just be like, commit now, like commit you coward. I think it's a good thing because a lot of writing music is committing to one idea and not like try to change it forever.
Hmm.
Like you said before, it can become very open ended in a way when there's no lyrics or vocals to guide it, but you just have to um, commit the idea at some point and accept that this is the idea and we should leave it at that.
Hmm. The album title, what's kind of the thinking behind that, and even the picture too? Like, was there a lot of thought process? Because sometimes, like, I had some friends on, and the album cover, it did mean something, but it wasn't this really crazy story to the cover. Like, it was just like, well, it was this person's thing. They went through some stuff because you had to get permission, I think, from the photographer. So I'm kind of curious with the album artwork and the title, like how it came to be.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, the title of Violence is sort of um, our take on sort of it has this kind of academic ring to it.
Hmm.
Um, it's actually sort of um, what do you call it? Plagiating? Is that a word?
I don't know.
Um,
Uh,
um, what's it called?
let's say, yeah, it is a word.
I have to look that up. Okay,
Fuck
we're
it.
actually just
Play.
copying, sort of copying this Hannah Arendt book that she wrote like a long time ago called On Violence,
Oh,
and
okay.
this one is called Off Violence.
Oh, I see.
So,
I see. I see. Yeah,
um,
plagiarizing a bit, but
but it
yeah,
wasn't actually yeah, plagiarizing. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it wasn't actually inspired by Arendt as such. It was, I think it was initially inspired by this phrase in a book by Mark Grice, I think he's called.
Okay.
Um, he wrote this, like he released this book called Against Everything, which is just an essay collection. And I think Christian was reading it at the time. And I'm not going to be very good at paraphrasing this because I didn't actually read it myself, but there was something in there that resonated with us about, like he was writing about the mass communication or like the omnidirectional communication of like our times, like of internet communication,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that you're constantly being bombarded with messages that have no real receiver. They're just like being fired in every direction. And I think he ended this long rant about this with a quote that's like something like, "But we all know that in the end, what it really felt like was violence."
Hmm.
Um, and it just kind of struck a note for us in terms of like this way of thinking about violence in a more like abstract sense.
Hmm.
And this idea just sort of kind of played well together with another idea that we had, which was based on another book by a guy called Steven Pinker, who wrote, I think he's actually Canadian.
Okay.
But he wrote a book called Better Angels. What's it called? Better Angels of Our Nature, with the subtitle "Why Violence Has Declined."
Huh.
And it's actually exploring this paradox, like that. I think the popular perception of the world today is that violence is increasing, that the world is increasingly violent today, which is actually not true. Like if you look at it scientifically, it's way less violent
I've heard that.
than it was just like, yeah, well, it's easy. It's actually quite easy to imagine when you just rewind like 100 years and think of World War One and that other war that followed. But what this inspired us to do was to sort of, we had lots of discussion about like, how can this be that we then feel like that the world is becoming more violent? And I think what we concluded was that it must be because violence is taking on other shapes, or like there's stuff out there that feels like violence, or we're being exposed to violence in a different way. So throughout the album, we just wanted to try and dive into these different concepts of violence.
Interesting.
Much inspired by Mark Grives that I cited before. And I think the album cover, getting to that, like, is of like a volcano eruption, and it just felt like a nice kind of metaphor on a different kind of violence than human created violence.
Huh. Wow, that's interesting, man. That's like
so that's it.
Yeah, that even the second single, or the first single, the what is it, Rocco's Basilisk, or the Roscoe, forget what it's called.
Yeah, Rocco's Basilisk.
Like that. Well, that's a violence, but that's like an impending violence. That whole idea.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really. Sorry, go. Here we go. Yeah, that's okay.
I was just about to say that it's like Rocco's Basilisk is like the the ultimate like metaphor of the fear of violence to come, like violence in the future. Which I guess takes some explaining about what Rocco's Basilisk is, but that's quite easy to look up on the internet. It's just this really,
just Google it.
Quite goofy thought experiment, but also quite interesting.
No, it's cool, man. It's cool. It's a like I picture you guys are doing vinyl, so I picture that album cover like on a nice 12-inch, and it's cool, man. I the whole there's. On the surface, when people first intake music, or I'm just more speaking on my behalf, like I love to hear the thought process behind it, and it's I obviously would prefer that there's a bit of a story behind an album title and the artwork versus just like it fucking looked cool. It's like, which is fine too, like whatever.
It has to look cool.
Yeah,
like that is actually the first priority, I think, but I like it to have some sort of connection to the music as well.
Yeah. Sweet. Dude, so I do these about this long, and then I'll play a track. I do this thing called the Hibzine, where I just play something off the record, which I think I wanted to do the Arch Right first. But you're the guest, so as of today, there's only the 2 singles out. But if you had a choice, would you prefer Archright or Rocco's Basilisk? Do you care?
No, I don't. Just go
Okay.
ahead with Archright. I think that's fine.
Okay, I'll put that in. So this is Archright off of Violence by Town Portal. was that. Make sure we're still recording. Yeah. That's sweet, man. So this is gonna come out on April the 1st, and then on the 5th is when it comes out. So I know right now people can pre-order. It's Town Portal Band, I think. No, townportal.bandcamp.com. And then what's the other social media stuff? Probably all the same, or what is it? Let me see here. Facebook
Well,
is
Facebook, Town Portal Band, like
Town Portal
Facebook
Band.
slash
Yep.
Town Portal Band.
Do you have an Instagram too?
And
Do you guys?
we are like as of recently, I think we're Town Portal Band on there as well.
Okay.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, cool. Sweet, man. Yeah, fuck, like I have so many rad people I can reach out to, and I know people are busy and life is life, so I'm glad we could do this, man. Like really, I think your
Yeah.
band's fucking amazing, and I'm super excited for this release, and I hope people listening will get behind it too. Like no one has to play music, and we could stop at any moment, but the fact that you guys continue to push yourselves is inspiring. I love it, man. I fucking love this shit.
Well, the same to you. Like you've been doing this for longer than I have even. So I just like when people keep doing it even beyond like what's reasonable, like a
Yeah.
reasonable age playing music. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, fuck. I hope I'll see you guys maybe out here, or maybe we'll get out there, and I don't know. I'll try to like just keep tabs a little better, so I'm not like, oh my god, they have a record coming out, because that's kind of what it was like.
Yeah.
Awesome,
That's
man.
what happens. But I guess that was the same. That was actually the same for me with you guys as well, because it was only through Scott that I became aware of that album that you put out,
Yeah. Well,
which is great too, by the way.
thanks, man. Well, thanks, man. Scott does good work, and yeah, this record sounds great. And
Oh, he does, yeah.
yeah. But I'm gonna close this off, man. I'll just let you go. But Morten, thank you, man. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
No problem. I'll let you know when this thing goes up, and yeah, I don't know. We'll try to be in touch, and that's about it, man. Thanks so
Yeah.
much.
Definitely. Yeah. Okay. Take care.
Cheers, buddy. Cool, guys. Thank you so much for listening and for giving a shit about this show. It would be ridiculous to do this if no one's listening. So thank you, guys. Quick shout outs to the sponsors. You can follow these guys on Instagram. Just a simple like, a simple follow means a lot. Just take the time. All the information is in the description for every episode, wherever it's posted, be it Spotify or YouTube or Instagram or the homepage or whatever. Just all the information is there. So quickly here, we have Brewed Biscuits, the all-natural spent grain pet treats based out of Norfolk County. 3 delicious flavors for your pup: the peanut butter, pumpkin, sweet potato, and apple cinnamon. Go to 2 Spent Grains, that's TWO spentgrains.ca, and order a bag of treats for your doggo. Also, heartbeathotsauce.com, the hot sauce company from Thunder Bay that makes delicious hot sauce. 3, 4, maybe 5 different types now. Find out where you can pick up yours. Just go to heartbeathotsauce.com. Los Cabos Drumsticks, Canada's #1 drumstick manufacturer. 20 different stick models, 3 different types of wood, family run. Great company, loscabosdrumsticks.com. Kevin Rigo of Hefner Toyota. He's at 3121 King Street East in Kitchener. Special pricing on new vehicles when you mention the show. Honest car salesman. Love that man. Ironclad Graphics for your silk screening needs. Go to ironcladgraphics.com. What else we got? Dapperbeardoil.com. Use promo code TakerWide free ship. Save on the free shipping. Try out some beard oil. That's it. Yeah, the homepage is takerwide.com. I have t-shirts if you guys want to support the show that way. It designed by Sean Arsenian, aka Wormzilla, printed by Ironclad Graphics. They're on sale right now, so if you just go to the homepage and click on merch, or just go to takerwide.bigcartel.com, you can order a shirt there. Instagram, I'm trying to post every day, actually, just something pertinent to the show. It's just Takerwide Podcast. Twitter is Takerwide Pod. The YouTube channel's there. If you guys can subscribe, that'd be great. And if you know anyone who's into podcasts, just tell them about the show. This is totally grassroots. I've never paid for an ad. And it's all just on the backs of you guys. So I'll keep putting it out as long as you guys keep listening. All support, any support is appreciated. It really is. And yeah, it's April. Let's have a good week, a good month. Hopefully this is a good way to start it. Grab that Town Portal record. And that's it, man. I love you guys. That's it. Okay. Adios. Bye.